Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Myself, Dr. Vinod L. Desai, Associate Professor, serving at PG Department of Computer Science and Technology, Sardar Patel University, Vallabh Vidyanagar. In previous sessions, we talked regarding HTML tables, how do we create table, how do we add content in table, as well as how do we format various cells, table borders in HTML in table. In these sessions, we will talk regarding adding headers in a table, table padding and spacing, and spanning the rows and columns in a table. So let's understand first what is cell spanning, we can say. So cell spanning means cells that stretch across two or more columns or rows in a table. Cell spanning can be applied in an HTML table by using two cell attributes, col span for horizontal spanning and row span for vertical spanning. The two attributes are assigned numbers greater than 0, which allows or shows the number of cells you wish to span. The col span attribute merges two cells across multiple columns. Row span attribute merges cells across multiple rows. So column span is used for merging columns and row span is used for merging the rows, in simple words. Table padding and table spacing. Now before we proceed further to understand spacing and padding, we need to understand cell spanning. Let's understand first through practical one so that it will be easy for us to make it clear regarding spanning of rows. So first we will see the row spanning. So row spanning, we already understood that whenever we want to merge more than one rows, then we can use row span. So in these examples, you can see that in a, we can say, body tag, we have a table. In a table, we have one tr tag having a table heading named name, and we can say its value. Then after we have another row, in another row we have a table header, and in table header we are spanning the table, or we can say merging the rows, two rows, okay, having the value font. So row span is specified with a two value, numerical values, as you can see. So it will span for two corresponding rows, and the values will be specified in different cells as the number is there. In a, we can say TD tag, and in another row we have another, we can say TD tag, because here we are not specified, we can say any other, we can say any data, because we have used row span. So it will span for consecutive two rows, one and second. Let's run it to understand row span. Okay, you can see here the first, in the first column we can say there is a name, and in second row there is a font content. So in the first row the name is specified, that is Naresh, as a value, and in the second row font is specified having a two values. So two values in the form of font numbers, but you can see that two specified numbers are contained in a single row, that is font. So font was, we can say, merged. Okay, it is having a two rows, but it was merged in a single row to contain more than one number, So we have used row span. That means the row, second row and third row was merged to contain a single font content. So this is what the row spanning mechanism is. At the same time, we can use column spanning. Okay, we can use column spanning. Okay, here you can see that in a table tag we have one tr, and under tr we have th tag. In the th tag we are using column spanning for two columns, full name, and then after we are using another header, that is age. So in the next table row we are using td TD and TD, that means total 3 cells. Okay, first cell for first name, second is for the, you can say, last name, and third one is for the age. But first name and last name is going to be, we can say, clubbed as we are using a column spanning. The same will be for the third row, that is for the first name, last name and age. Let's run it to understand it. Column spanning. As you can see now, the first row having a column spanning of 2 columns, that is first name and last name. So the single column is shown in the form of full name, but after in the second row and third row we can see that first row, first name and last name, first name and last name of 2 values, 2 corresponding rows is bifurcated, but the title remains common, that is full name. So we have here used a column spanning up to 2 columns. Okay, you can increase the value as per a requirement and reduce the value as per a requirement. That means based on your, we can say, requirement of merging the rows or columns, you can either increase or decrease the value in a row span or column span attributes. Also, this is all about row spanning and column spanning. Moving next is table padding and spacing. So in table we can add padding to individual cells as well as specify space between different cells. For better understanding, please look have a image so you can understand it better. Cell padding. So what is cell padding? It is defined as the space between the cell content and the boundary of the cell. The cell padding is defined as the space between 2 cells. As you can see here, the content is in centered, and then after the space between the border of the cell, we can consider it as a cell padding. By default, the value of cell padding is set to 0. We will use the CSS padding property to specify the padding. Now cell spacing. Cell spacing is defined as the space between 2 cells in an HTML table. By default, the value of the cell spacing is set to 2 pixels. The CSS border spacing property is used to specify the spacing between 2 cells. As you can see in the image, as the cell spacing is specified using the bidirectional red arrow between the 2 cells horizontally as well as vertically. Okay, let's understand first through the example, and then after we'll move further. So cell spacing. Okay, this is cell spacing from 15 to 25 to make it more understandable, and instead of table styling 100 we will reduce it to 50 so that it can be better visible. So first let me to keep it default. Okay, 15 as it is. First, simply this is what the table width we have specified by 50% simply. Now that spacing property is given to 15 pixels. Now instead of 15 we are going to increase it to 25, as you can see in the table's border spacing property. Now refresh it, you can visualize it. Moving next to the padding property of a cell. Okay, simply we will change it. Let us run first, okay, then after we will modify so that it will be better to understand. In earlier programs we already applied both this one, specifying a property, but in this program we will separately discuss the padding property again. Okay, this is also occupying the whole window, so reduce this width to 50% so that we can understand it better. Okay, first 50% width is good. Now we will apply the padding property. It is already 10, but now we will change it from 10 to 20. Okay, and refresh it. So you can understand that padding is reflected from 10 to 20%. If you will again increase from 20 to 30 and just check it, so it increases the padding effect of cell. So this way we can provide the, we can say, cell spacing and cell padding effect by using the CSS property. We can say padding and border spacing for the specified table of the HTML document. Now moving next is all about table column groups. With the column group elements, we can style different columns of a table. Inside column group called COL, that is a tag element, is used to specify a group of columns. A span attribute is used inside the column elements to specify the number of columns in a group. A style attribute is used to give styling to different columns. Multiple column elements. So we can use as many columns as we want inside the column group to style columns with different styles. We have used, let us examine first so that you can understand HTML column groups. Then after empty tables and hide columns, we will parallelly discuss through practically so that you can understand it. So column group, the table concept is very important and we can understand it better through practically than just discussing through the concept way. Multiple column element group, okay, this one. Okay, here what we are doing, see, we have a column table and we have created a column group of 3 columns. One column group having a span of 2, another column group having a span of 3, and another group having a span of 2. Okay, and having a different background colors. We have specified to bifurcate it with each other. Okay, different colors value is provided so that we can have a, we can say, identification that column groups are created in a 3 groups. And then after we are specifying the values for the specified cells, okay, in simply numbers, whatever value you can, but just the main thing is to specify the column groups, to highlight it, that first 2 are like this, second 2. So based on this column group concept, you can group the columns and highlight the values. Let's run it to understand. Column group, multiple column group. See here, the first we have created 2 column groups, then after we have created the group of 3 columns, and at last we have created the group of 2 columns, and it was highlighted through different colors. So this way you can bifurcate and make a group of different columns to highlight the content of particular data. You can change these as per your requirement. Okay, you can simply change the column groups and span of that columns 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4 as per your requirements. You can as well hide the, we can say, columns. Let's run it first to make sure. Hide columns, okay, and after, yes, hide columns. See here, total Monday, Tuesday, then after we can say there is no Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. 3 columns are not visible as you can see on this window. Then after Saturday and Sunday is displayed. So we have 3 columns missing over here. Okay, so how it is possible? So through the visibility concept, see here, we have used this in a second column span. In the earlier program, we have created the same column span and column group. Okay, and we have highlighted through different colors property. But here we have not used color property, we have just simply spanned the column group and we have used this style property, and the value of style property given is visibility and value is collapse. So right now what we are doing, we are just hiding these 3 columns and we are just visualizing the rest of the columns. So this is what hiding the columns. If you sometimes you need it to hide the columns of a column of a table, Then you can apply this by making a column groups, and then after apply this style is equal to visibility and collapse value. Provide this collapse value to the visibility property of a style attribute. So probably the execution we have already seen. So this way, if you want to remove it, let's remove this simply so that you can understand it. Okay, I am removing this, save it and refresh it. Now it's visible, see. Okay, so all the columns are visible now. Let's undo it, save it, again refresh it. So it's hidden from the users. So this way we can hide the proper columns of the table as per our requirement. Moving next. Adding a table header, body and footer. So any websites or any other documents has three main sections. We already know there will be a header, there will be a, we can say, body within which the content would be displayed, and at last there would be a footer. So every website is consisting of three main components. The T-body HTML element or tag is used to define the body content of an HTML table. It creates a separate semantic block in the table. The table head in HTML T-head section and table footer in HTML T-foot element are also a part of this T-body element of the HTML. All these tags must be placed inside a table tag and must contain at least one TR tag. So whenever we are talking with respect to table tags, especially with respect to headers, footers and body, then we have to put all these tags within the table tag, and they all requires at least one table row, that is TR tag. Let's go through the examples to understand it better. Yes, as you can see here, we have a table, this one, okay, and then after within this table we have used table T-head tag, T-head, see here, not simple heading but T-head tag we have used. Within that we have a TR tag, okay, then after table tag, T-head tag is closed, then after we have used table footer, within that we have a TR tag, and then value is there using the TD tag. Then we have closed this table footer tag, and then after table body is there, T-body tag, that is, and then after within that we have created number of, we can say, table data and created number of rows as per our requirements. So this way we can have at HTML table heading, table body and table footer tags used for bifurcating the content, headers and footers of a website. If you want to run it, we can run it, and we can see the output. Yes, here the table, we can say the header is given, table footer is in the last row, the footer is displayed. In the first row there is a header, and in between the content is displayed in the form of cell, rows 1, 2, 3, like that. In these sessions we have talked in detail regarding the spanning of rows and spanning of columns of a table, okay. Then after we have discussed this cell padding and cell spacing, values, properties of a table, and then after we have also discussed various other functionalities of a table in detail through practical. Thank you very much.